I was at the bridal boutique, checking on the custom wedding dress I had designed for myself, when a young woman walked in. The staff whispered that in just 3 months, she had already ruined 99 wedding dresses. Her standards were so high, it left everyone speechless. What was even more shocking was her husband, rich, powerful, and completely devoted to her. He let her alter design after design without a single complaint. While the staff were still complaining under their breath, the woman glanced around and instantly set her eyes on the wedding dress I had designed. When she was told it wasn't for sale, she immediately took out her phone and made a call. Moments later, the store manager rushed over to me. Her husband had bought the entire boutique, and now they wanted that dress, mine. They asked if I would be willing to give it up. I refused. That dress was something I designed for my own wedding. How could I possibly give it to someone else? A staff member tugged at my sleeve and whispered nervously, "Ms. Shi, maybe you should reconsider. She's the young madam of the Fu family. It wouldn't hurt to stay on her good side." I froze. The Fu family? If she was the young madam of the Fu family, then who was I? A flicker of pride crossed the woman's face when she saw my reaction. She smiled at me, calm and composed, like someone standing far above. "You're a designer too, right?" she said lightly. "If I wear your dress at my wedding, your name will rise in the industry overnight." I stared at her, unable to believe what I was hearing. After a moment, I turned to the staff. "Could you show me the contract for this, madam?" When I got the document, I flipped straight to the last page. And there it was, a bold, familiar signature, Fu Shen. I almost thought I was seeing things. That name had once filled every page of my youth. Not long ago, it had even appeared beside mine, on the engagement board, welcoming our guests. And now, it was on a contract for a wedding dress, next to another woman's name, Shen Nuo. In that instant, it felt like I had fallen into ice. A truth so absurd, yet undeniable. My fiancé, Fu Shen, had cheated on me. I begged him for a long time. In the end, he just pressed his fingers against his temple and said coldly, "Shiqian, don't be unreasonable." Then he turned away and walked straight into the room without looking back. And yet now, all Shen Nuo had to do was act a little spoiled, and he surrendered immediately. So it wasn't that his schedule couldn't be changed. It was just that I was never the exception. Shen Nuo giggled, teased him for a bit longer, then hung up. A staff member nearby covered her mouth in admiration. "Mrs. Fu, President Fu treats you so well. I'm honestly so jealous." Shen Nuo smiled, her face glowing with happiness. Then she turned to me. "By the way, when is your wedding?" The question caught me off guard. Before I could answer, another designer, someone who never liked me, walked in with accessories in hand. She let out a mocking laugh. "Her? She's been designing and ordering that wedding dress for months, but no one's ever seen this so-called fiancé of hers. Who knows if he even exists?" She quickly turned to Shen Nuo, her tone instantly flattering. "Not everyone is as lucky as you, Mrs. Fu. President Fu is so busy, yet he still makes time to accompany you for every little detail before the wedding." I lowered my gaze, not knowing what to say, because it was true. Up until now, Fu Shen had never even set a date for our wedding. Everything I had done, all the preparations, were just my own wishful thinking. Shen Nuo frowned slightly, as if she felt indignant on my behalf. "Doesn't your fiancé care about you at all? Letting you handle everything alone? That's really too much. You should think carefully. Don't give your heart to the wrong person. She sounded like she was concerned for me, but there was no hiding the sense of superiority in her voice. I followed her words lightly. You're right. I'll think about it. What about you? When's your wedding? She thought for a moment. Probably in the second half of the year. My husband said we'd register the marriage first, and he'll take care of everything else. I just need to choose what I like. I froze. You're already registered? She nodded. Yeah, on May 20th. I liked the date, so I insisted. He was supposed to go on a business trip that day. Actually, she stuck out her tongue shyly. Do you think I'm too childish? My mom always says I never grow up, but my husband says he likes me this way, like a child. He'll spoil me, protect me, and make sure I never have to worry about anything for the rest of my life. Her innocent smile made my heart turn cold. Fu Shen had already registered his marriage with her, and on May 20th. How ridiculous, because that day was my birthday. I waited for him until midnight that night. Even after 12, he never came home. Later, he told me he had been on a business trip, stuck in meetings, unable to return in time, and I believed him. I didn't question it, but it turned out, on my birthday, he was registering his marriage with another woman. I had been with him since I was 18. Now I was 28. 10 years. At first, he couldn't wait for us to be old enough to get married. Then, for all kinds of reasons, he kept delaying it. And eventually, he stopped bringing it up altogether. So this was why. Because he had already married someone else. Shen Na said he promised her a lifetime. What she didn't know was that I had once heard those same promises. He had once knelt on one knee under a sky full of fireworks. When he placed the ring on my finger, he swore he would love me forever, cherish me, and never let me suffer. And in the end, those exact same vows, he gave them to someone else. After the makeup was done, Shen Nu went into the fitting room to change into the dress. I followed to help her. As I was tying the waist, she suddenly lowered her voice. Could you loosen it a little? I looked at her through the mirror, slightly surprised. It fits you perfectly. If we make it looser, it might not look as good. She pressed her lips together, then leaned closer and whispered in my ear. I'm actually pregnant. My husband doesn't know yet. I want to surprise him. My hands froze. She continued softly. By the time of the wedding, my belly will probably show. I'm afraid there won't be enough time to alter it later. So could you adjust it now? And please, keep it a secret for me. For a moment, I couldn't react at all. I stood there, frozen. A chill crept slowly into my chest. She was pregnant. She was carrying his child. Fu Shen already had a child with another woman. Shen Nu gently stroked her stomach, her face filled with happiness. That happiness felt like a blade stabbing straight into my eyes. I gave a vague response and hurried out of the fitting room. Leaning against the door, I couldn't calm my thoughts. 2 years ago, we had a child too, but at that time, the Fu group was going through restructuring. Fu Shen was so busy, he barely had time to breathe. He said it wasn't the right time to have a child, so I listened to him and gave it up. And now, Shen Nua was pregnant with his child. A dark thought suddenly surfaced in my mind. If Fu Shen found out about this child, he might not be happy at all. Right then, Shen Nuo's phone rang on the dressing table. It was Fu Shen. From inside the fitting room, she called out, Hey, could you answer that for me? I can't right now. I hesitated for a moment, but a darker thought began to creep into my mind. If Fu Shen heard my voice, how would he react? With that thought, I picked up the call. Hello? Unfortunately, I had just been crying. My voice was slightly hoarse, and Fu Shen didn't recognize me at all. Who is this? A cold smile curled on my lips. Since he hadn't noticed, then I might as well keep playing along. I'm a staff member at the bridal boutique. Ms. Shen is in the fitting room, so she asked me to answer for her. Would you like me to pass along a message? There was no suspicion in his voice. Nothing important. I just called to say I've had afternoon tea delivered. Make sure she eats something. Otherwise, I'm worried she won't feel well. The concern in his tone, so familiar, yet so distant. I couldn't help but test it further. Is Ms. Shen not feeling well? Is there anything we should pay special attention to? There was a brief silence. Then he said quietly, She's pregnant. She thinks I don't know. I don't want to ruin the surprise, so don't tell her I already know. Just take good care of her. After the call ended, I slowly sank down, covering my face with both hands. Tears slipped through my fingers. How ironic. I thought he truly didn't want a child. Turns out, he just didn't want one with me. Shiqian. All those years of youth, wasted so blindly. When Shen Nuo stepped out of the fitting room, she looked breathtaking. The wedding dress I had designed for myself fit her perfectly, just like the man I had chosen for myself. Our tastes were painfully similar. The staff gathered around her, showering her with compliments. She basked in the attention like a star. Lifting the hem of her dress, she spun lightly and snapped a photo, sending it to Fu Shen. Honey, does this wedding dress look good? My taste isn't bad, right? His reply came almost instantly. It's beautiful. It suits you perfectly. Wear it for me when you get home. The voice message played out loud, making the staff giggle and whisper. Oh my God, Mrs. Fu, you two are so in love. It's honestly making us jealous. Perhaps she hadn't expected him to be so direct. Shen Nuo blushed slightly and didn't reply. A bitter ache rose in my chest. I had spent 3 months designing that dress. Every single day, Fu Shen had the chance to see it, and yet he didn't remember it at all. But the moment Shen Nuo sent him a photo, he noticed immediately. So this was the difference. I stood there, watching the shy smile on her face, overflowing with happiness. There was a time when I had that kind of happiness too. When I was younger, I never had the chance to formally learn drawing. I had no foundation, so when I decided to pursue design, I was met with endless doubt. Only Fu Shen had always supported me without hesitation. He believed I could achieve my dreams. Back then, there was a wedding dress displayed in a boutique window. It was stunning. I loved it so much. But it wasn't for sale. I was disappointed, but I never told him. One day, we passed by that store together. I only glanced at the dress, just once more. The next day, it appeared in my room. Even now, I still remember the way he looked at me. So gentle, it made me want to drown in it. Qian, he said softly. Anything you like, I'll give you. Anything you want to do, I'll support you. Just go for it. I asked him why he treated me so well. He smiled, so beautifully. My name is Shen. Yours is Qian. We were meant to be together. I was born to treat you well, and I'll do it for the rest of my life. Back then, I truly believed he loved me. But time has a way of changing everything. Shen Nu stood in front of the mirror, admiring herself over and over again, clearly satisfied with the dress. Her assistant adjusted the train and said, "Mrs. Fu, this dress suits you so well. If you add a bright gemstone necklace, it'll look even more stunning." I glanced at Shen Nua. She touched her neck thoughtfully. "It does feel like something's missing." "Oh, right. I just picked up a necklace from an auction today. Let me try it on." With that, she skipped over to the sofa and picked up her handbag. Then, slowly, she took out a jewelry box. She held it out in front of me, smiling brightly. "Look, my husband just won this at an auction for me. Isn't it beautiful? It'll be the perfect match with this dress." The moment the box opened, a brilliant red glow spilled out, and the instant I saw the necklace clearly, I almost stopped breathing. I stared at it, then at Shen Nua, then back at the necklace again. It took me a long time to finally accept it. This was real. That necklace was mine. More precisely, it was the last thing my mother left behind. A family heirloom, passed down from my grandmother. Priceless. Back then, when the Fu Group was on the verge of collapse, Fu Shen had been driven into a corner. I couldn't bear to watch him fall apart. So, I sold my mother's necklace to fill the company's financial gap. That was what brought the Fu Group back to life. Even when my own family had nothing to eat, I had never once thought of selling it. So, Fu Shen knew, better than anyone, how much that necklace meant to me. He had promised me that one day he would buy it back. But after it was sold, it disappeared into the hands of a private collector. No one knew where it went, and ever since then, I had lived with that regret. I couldn't even keep the last thing my mother left me. Every time it came up, Fu Shen would look full of guilt. He said he had been searching for it all along. So when did he find it? And what was he thinking? When he bought it back, only to give it to another woman? I clenched my teeth so hard my palms began to bleed. "Fu Shen, what am I to you? How dare you use my mother's relic to please another woman? Who do you think you are?" The anger surged through my chest. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to confront him, right now. Just then, the dressing room door was pushed open. A tall, familiar figure walked in. "Nuo Nuo, are you done? I'm here to pick you up." The moment I heard that voice, my whole body trembled. Slowly, I turned around. The second Shen Nuo saw him, she ran straight into his arms. "Honey, you're finally here." But the moment Fu Shen saw me, his expression changed instantly. Qian, what are you doing here?" I raised an eyebrow, letting out a cold laugh. "What? Surprised?" He glanced at Shen Nuo, rushing toward him, instinctively stepping back. Then he stared at me, panic flickering in his eyes. What did you two talk about?" I let out a quiet scoff. Even now, he still wanted to hide it? I glanced at Shen Nuo. Her eyes were filled with confusion, like a lost, innocent deer. For a brief moment, my heart softened. I couldn't bring myself to expose her in front of everyone. After all, she was just another victim being deceived. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. "Give me the necklace back," I said coldly. "We'll talk about everything else later." Fu Shen didn't hesitate. He turned to Shen Nuo and held out his hand. "Give it to me." She froze. "What?" His expression darkened. "Now." Shen Nuo looked at me, then back at him. Reluctantly, Biting her lip, she removed the necklace and handed it over. I took it. Only then did my heart feel slightly steadier. I turned to leave, but Fushen grabbed my wrist. Qian, where are you going? I shook him off without even looking at him. Handle your mess first. We'll talk at home. And with that, I walked out, without turning back. When I got home, I immediately started packing. Clothes, documents, my mother's photo album, my sketchboards, design drafts, my favorite vase, the bed sheets embroidered with our initials, the scarf he once knitted for me by hand. There was too much to take, too much to sort, too much to let go. In the end, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I tore the scarf apart violently. The threads cut into my palms like blades. I covered my face and collapsed onto the floor, finally breaking down into uncontrollable sobs. This house was filled with too many memories, from the curtains and the sofa to the smallest things, plates, decorations. Every single piece was something Fushen and I had chosen together, bit by bit, carrying our hopes for a future. When we bought this house, I said I wanted to design our home myself, and he stayed by my side, drawing blueprints with me, walking through construction markets and furniture stores all over the city. Every brick, every detail in this house, we chose together. Renovating should have been exhausting, but we enjoyed every second of it. Back then, every day, we talked about our future, about the house, about marriage, about children, about growing old together. The only thing we never talked about was separation. I had believed so deeply that we would make it to the end, and now it was all just a joke. Through my blurred, tear-filled vision, I looked at the familiar home in front of me. From now on, this place would no longer belong to me. By the time Fushen rushed home, I was almost done packing. Seeing how anxious he looked, I let out a mocking laugh. Well, this is rare. You actually rushed home for once. He ignored the sarcasm in my voice and hurried to explain. I only just got that necklace at the auction. I was planning to surprise you, so I didn't tell you. But Shenhua liked it, so I thought I'd let her wear it for a while and give it back to you later. I would never give your mother's relic to someone else. You have to believe me. Of course he knew. He knew exactly what mattered to me most. Too bad. I no longer believed a single word he said. Hearing him call her mother the way I did felt like an insult to her. I didn't want to listen anymore. I turned to leave, but then his eyes fell on the suitcase beside me. He immediately grabbed my hand. Qian, where are you going with your luggage? I stared at him. His eyes were filled with emotions I no longer cared to understand. Anywhere is fine, I said calmly. I'm just making room for you and your wife. Otherwise, where will you two live after the wedding? He pulled me tightly into his arms, his voice urgent. Qian, she's not my wife. The only person I've ever loved is you. I let out a cold laugh. She's not your wife? Then I am? Then why is the person trying on wedding dresses with you her and not me? I shoved him away and held up the design draft. Look at it. The dress she's wearing. Doesn't it look familiar? The moment he saw the drawing, a flicker of shock crossed his eyes. Only now did he realize that the wedding dress Shenhua was wearing had been taken from me, and the person who helped her take it was him. If he had ever seriously looked at my designs, even once, he would have known. But he never cared. Not really. He fell silent for a long time, then said bitterly, I'm sorry, Qian. I never wanted to hurt you. It's just, she reminds me of you when you were younger. I just wanted to spoil her a little. Can you give me another chance? I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. I laughed so hard my chest ached, as if my entire body was being twisted apart. Looking at the man I had loved for over 10 years, "What did you just say?" I laughed coldly. "You love her because she looks like me. I'm standing right here in front of you, yet you choose to love someone who resembles me. Do you think that makes you devoted, faithful?" Tears still clung to the corners of my eyes, but my lips curled into a smile. This man was ridiculous. Fu Shen seemed unable to tolerate my sarcasm any longer. His lips pressed into a thin line. Impatience crept into his eyes. He grabbed my shoulders, his voice turning cold. Qian, stop talking like that. I've already apologized. I can break up with her, but you need to know when to stop. I shook his hands off and smiled faintly. Break up? That's not quite right. If you two separate now, wouldn't that be called divorce? The look on his face froze. My gaze turned colder. May 20th. Such a beautiful date. Do you remember it's my birthday? On my birthday, you went to register your marriage with someone else and left me waiting all night. Fu Shen, you're really something. His expression darkened. He lowered his gaze and said quietly, "We didn't actually register. I lied to her. I can't marry anyone but you. You have to believe me." I paused, but his explanation didn't make me feel any better. If anything, it made everything clearer. He had been playing both of us, deceiving me, deceiving Shenhua, spinning us both in circles, and now he still had the audacity to act like he was deeply in love. I was done. I didn't want anything more to do with this man. I shook his hand off, grabbed my suitcase, and walked out. Fu Shen caught my arm again. "You're not leaving." Anger burned in his eyes. "You can be mad at me however you want, but you're not allowed to leave me." I looked straight at him, my expression calm, without a single ripple. "Fu Shen, are you sure you want things to get ugly? Or what are you planning to do? Keep me here against my will?" He froze for a second, then quickly denied it. "Of course not, but..." I curled my lips slightly and pulled my hand away. "Then, don't stop me. Otherwise, I don't know what I might do, President Fu." Those last two words made his whole body stiffen. He understood exactly what I meant. If he didn't let me go, I would call the police. And for someone in his position, that kind of scandal would be devastating. Slowly, his hands fell to his sides, powerless. Qian, I'll give you time to calm down, but I won't give up on you." I let out a cold scoff, saying nothing. Then I turned around and walked away, without ever looking back. I went back to my old house. I had once thought I would never return here again. After my mother passed away, this place had become my worst nightmare. My father was an alcoholic. Every time he drank, he became violent. When my mother was still alive, she always stood in front of me, shielding me from his blows. Before she died, she placed the necklace in my hand. She told me, one day, I must find a man who would treat me well, not like her, who gave her heart to the wrong person. After she was gone, those blows fell on me instead. In those years, my body was almost always covered in bruises. There was never a place untouched. Then, I met Fu Shen. When he learned about my past, he didn't hesitate. He took me away from that house. For me, he even fought with his family. which cost him years of being kept away from the core of the Fu Group. Later, when the Fu Group faced collapse and restructuring, I gave him the necklace. That was how he seized the opportunity, took control, and rose to become the president of the Fu Group. After everything stabilized, I took him to visit my mother's grave. I told her I had found the right person. Fu Shen held my hand, stood in front of her grave, and made his promises. He said he would treat me well forever, that I would never suffer, not even a little. But in the end, he still broke his word. 2 years ago, my father died of liver cancer. Back then, Fu Shen wanted to renovate this house for me. But I stopped him, because I thought I would never come back. I didn't expect this day would come so soon. If I had known, I would have let him renovate it back then. At least, cleaning it now wouldn't be this exhausting. Dust filled the air as I struggled to clean the house. Halfway through, my best friend Shui Shui called. I coughed so hard I could barely speak. Qian, babe, are your things ready? We're flying to New York next week for the exhibition, remember? Hearing me cough, she paused. What's wrong with you? That cough sounds terrible. Are you sick? I stepped out onto the balcony for some air, finally catching my breath. I'm fine. Just cleaning the old house. Too much dust. She sounded confused. Why are you back there? I fell silent for a moment, then told her everything about Fu Shen. It was too much information. She seemed frozen on the other end. After a long pause, she asked carefully, Qian, you're not joking, right? Fu Shen, that Fu Shen, the one who loved you so much, it was like he wanted to carve you into his bones. How could he possibly cheat on you? I let out a bitter laugh. I had never told my friends how Fu Shen had changed over time. In her eyes, he was still the man who loved me more than anything. No wonder she couldn't believe it. To be honest, even I once couldn't believe he could become like this. I shook my head, pushing those thoughts away, and continued discussing work with her. Last year, we opened our own design studio together. This year, one of my wedding dress designs had been selected for a fashion exhibition in New York. We were supposed to fly there next week. I hadn't even told Fu Shen yet, but now there was no need anymore. After finalizing the details, I thanked Shui Shui for comforting me, then hung up. Exhausted, I collapsed onto the sofa. Even though I had accepted the truth, every time someone mentioned Fu Shen, and I had to retell the story all over again, my heart felt like it was being torn apart all over again. I had to keep myself busy. Only then would there be no space left in my mind to think about Fu Shen. For the next few days, I stayed at home, but he didn't stop looking for me. Calls, messages, one after another. I ignored all of them, not because I didn't see them, but because I still hadn't sorted out my emotions. I didn't even know what I would say to him until one day, someone unexpected asked to meet me. I arrived at the cafe, and with just one glance, I saw Shen Nua. When she saw me, she forced a smile, but it was nothing like the one she had at the bridal shop. You came. I walked over and sat down, studying her for a moment. She looked even more exhausted than I did. You don't look well. At my words, her eyes instantly turned red. She shook her head, her voice trembling. These past few days, I haven't been okay. I didn't expect. Her voice broke. She couldn't finish her sentence. I handed her a tissue. It took her a while to calm down before she continued. Actually, I should be the one apologizing. If we go by timing, I'm the one who ruined your relationship. Looking at her like this, I couldn't bring myself to blame her. After all, She was just another victim. Don't think like that, I said gently. You were deceived too. The problem is Fu Shen, not you, not me. Don't make yourself suffer like this, okay? She lifted her head and looked at me intently. So I really do resemble you. No wonder he noticed me. I was just a substitute. If you think about it, everything I've enjoyed all this time was because of you. I frowned. I don't agree with that. The whole idea of a substitute is just an excuse used by unfaithful people. If someone truly loves you, why would they even look at someone else? He wasn't sincere to me. And he's not sincere to you either. Don't lower your own worth like that. She stared at me for a long time. Then she smiled, a smile that looked worse than crying. Now I understand why he loved you so much. You're really a good person. I sighed. There was nothing more I could say. After all, our relationship wasn't that close. I asked quietly, "What are you planning to do now?" She lowered her head, stirring her coffee. After a long silence, she finally looked up. There was a pleading look in her eyes. "I'm sorry. I can't let him go. I know you don't want him anymore, so could you give him to me? Even if I'm just a substitute, I'll accept it." I froze. I never expected her to say something like that. "I don't understand," I said softly. "You're still so young." "But I know," she cut in. "With my background, I'll never find someone better than him." Her words. I couldn't refute them, but I still wanted to pull her back one last time. "If you stay with him, won't it hurt? If he can betray you today, he can betray someone else tomorrow. What will you do then?" She let out a bitter laugh. "I don't want this either, but I really can't leave him. I love him, and I can't deny I want a better life. Do you know, everything I've gained by being with him is something I could never achieve on my own, no matter how hard I try. I can't let go. I'm sorry. I'm just that kind of woman." I didn't know what to say. I didn't understand why she would lower herself like this, but I also didn't know how to convince her otherwise. After all, it was her life, not mine to decide. I thought for a long time about what I should say next, but no words felt right. Maybe because I stayed silent for too long. She misunderstood. "Or do you actually still want him?" she asked suddenly. "Are you just playing hard to get?" Her tone turned sharp, almost accusing. I frowned. "That's not it. I will never go back to him. But he's not some object you can just give away. If you want him, go fight for him yourself. You don't need my permission." She didn't look relieved. Instead, she kept staring at me. "Then can you promise me you'll never see him again?" That was crossing the line. My expression turned cold. "Shen Nua, you're asking for too much. I don't owe you any promises. I didn't blame you because you didn't know the truth. But that doesn't mean I'll tolerate everything. You've crossed the line." She opened her mouth, but said nothing. I picked up my bag and stood, then said one last thing. "Your life is yours to choose. Just make sure you don't regret it." After saying that, I turned and walked out of the cafe. In the blink of an eye, it was time to leave the country. At the airport, Shui Shui and I were checking our flight details. Suddenly, someone called my name. I turned around. It was Fu Shen. Through the crowd, he walked toward me, just like back then, when I had been beaten and was hiding in an alley. And he walked toward me from the other end, against the light, like a hero. He still looked the same, confident, composed, but I no longer felt my heart race. He stopped in front of me and pulled me into a tight embrace. "Qian, I finally found you. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Can you forgive me? I swear it won't happen again." Don't go. Don't leave me, okay? I leaned quietly in his arms, feeling my own heartbeat, and realized it was steady, no longer chaotic, no longer out of control. I smiled faintly and pushed him away. I didn't explain that I was leaving the country. Fushen, let's end this peacefully. Let's leave each other with something good to remember. I don't want us to become enemies after everything we've been through. Let's stop here. It's better for both of us. His hands tightened slightly on my shoulders. He looked at me as if he couldn't understand. Why? He asked hoarsely. I only made one mistake. Why are you sentencing me to death? Shiqian, this isn't fair to me. I gave him a faint smile. Fushen, when you stood between me and Shennuo, you weren't fair either. That one sentence drained all the color from his face. After a long silence, he shook his head, as if trying to convince himself. No, that's impossible. You love me. You wouldn't leave me like this. You just haven't forgiven me yet. That's all. I looked at him, at the man I had once loved so deeply, and sighed softly. I used to think I could never let you go either. But just now, when you held me, I realized something. My heart didn't move anymore. Fushen, I've let go. You should too. After that, I waved at him and walked toward the boarding gate. Behind me, his hand finally dropped. This time, it was truly over. On the plane, I asked Shui Shui why she had told Fushen where I was. She immediately begged for forgiveness. I just felt bad for him. I wanted to give him one last chance. And you too. You've been together for so many years. What if you still couldn't let go? I even told him you were leaving the country and might never come back, just so he would come find you one last time. She clutched her head dramatically. But I swear, I didn't mean to push you back together. I just gave him a chance. The rest was up to you. I just thought, what if you needed an excuse? If I didn't give you that chance, wouldn't you regret it? In the end, I lightly tapped her on the head. No second time. After the fashion show, our studio quickly gained recognition. Orders flooded in, and little by little, I forgot about everything that had happened. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Fushen and I never spoke again. Only Shui Shui still liked to keep track of his news and tell me about it. Because Shennu got pregnant, he eventually married her. She gave birth to a daughter, but it was said that his family never accepted the child. She tried to have a son to secure her position, but things never went as she wished, and Fushen was no longer as devoted to her as before. For the sake of that luxurious life, Shennu could only endure and lower herself. Not long after, he started seeing another woman. When Shennu found out, everything exploded. They fought publicly, and the footage was posted online. The scandal grew bigger and bigger. The Fu Group's stock price plummeted. In the end, they divorced. After hearing all that, Shui Shui rested her chin on her hand and clicked her tongue. Good thing you didn't go back to him. That man is seriously trash. I didn't respond, didn't comment. Instead, I tapped her lightly on the head with my pen. The exhibition is tomorrow. Are you done preparing? Or are you just sitting here gossiping? She yelped and jumped up, clutching her head. Oh no, I haven't even picked up the new display board yet. I almost forgot. I'll tell you more later. Watching her run off in a panic, I smiled softly, then picked up my pen and continued drawing. Because in the end, no matter what happens, never betray yourself. Only then will you have no regrets. I understood that long ago. That's why I was able to walk away in time. As for Shenhua, Back then, she didn't understand. But maybe now, she finally does.